said 34 to 38 league games puts 30 plus goals firmly in play. And whatever. I mean, I kind of get some of this. Like, I get what they're going for.
Yeah.
I just don't know what's actually feeding
a lot of it
player.
is nonsense, to be honest. A lot of it is not good football speak.
Nice.
Hi everyone, welcome back to another episode and Watch More Football. Well, we're just having the one episode this week because it's not a lot of Premier League games on. I'm here with Ryan, and this week just Ryan and producer Kyle. Welcome both. Well, I say welcome to Kyle. He kind of produces it, you know. But anyway, as always, you're watching us on the Genreverse Sports YouTube channel, but we are a member of the Genreverse YouTube family. Our main Genreverse YouTube channel is also out there for your perusal. Give it a check out. Loads of anime content on there. Lots of stuff. That's Kyle's baby. He does all that. But if you're into that kind of content, trust me, a lot to find on there. And a nice little community and Discord and all that sort of stuff as well that people are more than welcome to join. If you prefer written content, well, that's kind of my area most of the time. I do a lot of the writing for lrmonline.com, one of the senior editors over there. So Kyle writes there from time to time as well, especially on anime content. So, you know, give it a look over. Again, thanks for coming back. This week we're kind of covering, our agenda's fairly simple. We're going to be looking at our first manager sacking of the season, which we're quite early in, but there we go. We're also going to be looking at our kind of little team here that does the shows when they can, our predictions for certain player categories that we've kind of developed over the years that we're kind of making now that we're at the end of the transfer window. And we'll also be looking ahead to our game week 4 predictions from the team as well, and just seeing where we think they're going to go this coming weekend. So I guess we'll start off this week with our managerial sacking. And although this is it feels early, it's kind of been on the cards, hasn't it?
Has,
for the last maybe week or so, Ryan.
Well, even before that, I think if you read into it. But it is funny, when we were sort of planning what we were going to do for the international break and what episodes we were going to do, Carl was like, oh, well, I suppose we could do this if you don't think anything's going to happen. And we were all like, yeah, nothing's going to happen. It's the international break. It's going to be boring. And you know, trust Forest to not be boring, I guess.
No, they're not a particularly boring part of the Forest. I kind of almost feel like it's not all right, the transfer window differently, but Newcastle used to be a drama club, you know, back in the days of sort of Freddie Shepherd and all that sort of stuff. There was always some big drama. It does seem to have, I guess it's whoever you're owned by, right? But
yeah,
let's get on to the kind of meats and bones of it, though.
Yeah. I
think most Forest fans and neutral fans do not think this is a good decision.
No, I think Nuno has got them playing really effective football. It's you know, it's not, I want to say it's not fashionable football, but it's that's just because people think possession-based football is the only fashionable football. Whereas in the Premier League, at least, it has really sort of started leaning into that sort of transition-based football, which Nuno and Forest have played and made a success of. That's where games are won and lost, really, is being good defensively, being really good on the counter. You don't really see too many possession teams doing that. You know, it's not the be and all and end all anymore, is it?
A Man City or something.
Yeah. But even then,
in the world at that. So.
Even then, City have fallen off a bit, and City have had to change what they do. Yeah. And
still a good team. Yeah. Still third best team in the league last year.
Yeah.
You know, but we're a couple that were on the road out. I totally appreciate what you're saying.
Yeah, but obviously, you know, Forest had a wildly more successful season last season than anyone predicted. A lot of people, you know, a lot of us here and a lot of people in the actual football media had Forest going down and Nuno being sacked quite early into last season. And they were on for Champions League for much of the season. They dropped off towards the end a bit because maybe they didn't have the squad. But then they did that. They kept hold of it.
Part of this, you know, I mean, I don't know, because they've totally outperformed where they were expected to be. And getting UEFA Europa League, I know there was a reason why they got that, but doing Europa or getting into Europa League is, for me, a huge success for a club.
Exactly. And you know, they were only promoted. This is what their third season back in the Premier League, fourth maybe. It's, you know, after 30 years out of it to already be in Europe, it's bizarre. But also you have that, and find, you know, they lost Anthony Elanga to Newcastle. They got, you know, they made decent money on him, but he went. But they kept hold of their best player, Morgan Gibbs-White. They kept hold of Matt Sells in goal. They kept hold of Murillo. They got him to sign a new contract. They kept hold of Elliot Anderson. They kept hold of a lot of their best players, including their absolute jewel in the crown.
England international players.
Yeah.
Some of them, you know.
And they're going into their first European campaign for 30 odd years. So you'd think things would be optimistic, but what seems to have happened is that their owner, Evangelos Marinakis, has brought in Edu, who was Arsenal's director of football, but he's running all of Marinakis' clubs now. But obviously Forest are the big dogs because they're the Premier League club. And effectively, Edu was signing players. It's one of those classic ones where you've got a sporting director who's signing his players. Meanwhile, the manager is also signing his players. So you're signing twice as many players as you want. Manager's been given players that he doesn't want to work with. And Edu is the new hire, and he's got fingers in all of the pies. So he's going to win that clash of egos every time.
That's true. I think it's a strange one because it kind of feels like if for a team that's trying to evolve, eventually you make that jump from a Nuno, a Spirito Santo, maybe to a, I don't know if I would put Ange Postecoglou, but a more expansive manager, let's just say, right, because people want to see the change in football. But you have to be really, like, Newcastle aren't trying that yet, you know, and they've been a lot more considered. Aston Villa's not trying to do that yet.
Yeah.
But, you know, that's, you know, Emery and
but you also look at
far
it,
more pragmatic.
West Ham tried it after a period of relative success.
Say the same thing.
And it's been a disaster for them since. And it is bizarre. Like, you know, if you sack Nuno because of internal disputes and arguments, I think it's hasty. I think it's short-sighted, and it probably should have been sorted out in the summer if it was going to be an issue. But to then replace him 5 minutes later with Ange Postecoglou, who had a disastrous season with Spurs last season, finally won a trophy, but he did that by completely chucking the league. And realistically, if that happens with Forest, if Forest go deep in the Europa League this season and they chuck the league, Forest don't have as good a squad as Spurs on paper. Forest could genuinely go down if that happens again.
Well, I think it depends how things go up to that point. I've got a sneaking suspicion that Marinakis looks at the Europa League as it's the main competition for them this year because it's his best chance of getting a year in the Champions League. I think he sees that and he wants to capitalise on that. I get that. I actually do get that. But then Ange Postecoglou, he won it last year, but
how did he win it?
He didn't win it style. Let's
no, exactly.
This,
he won it by battening down the hatches, and you've already got a manager who's good at that and knows the players to be able to do that. Whereas you've got Postecoglou who's going to be starting to try and play out from the back and just who we are, mate. I'm really looking forward to seeing what Murillo does because he's an absolute head case as it is. If he's playing on like the opponent's 40-metre line under Ange, it's going to be a thing of beauty. But he's going to be doing that up until about Christmas. And then it's going to be, right, heads on, let's actually win some trophies. And he's going to have to go and sit back again. And it's just silly because
I want him to be able to do that because it felt like he was forced to do that last time. And I want to see him actually prove that he can do that when the game needs it rather than that's what I think is missing for me from Ange.
But what's silly in my mind, good counter-attacking football is the most exciting football, in my opinion. You don't want to be 11 men in the box, backs to the wall, seeing out a game, but winning the ball aggressively and within 2 or 3 passes getting a shot away, that's the best type of football, isn't it?
It's a skill, because then it kind of levels the playing field between the big guys and the little guys that just don't quite have that same skill to go at them, so they find a different way and they can find a way to beat them and stuff like that.
Yeah. One thing I don't get in all this is, like, I know there's reasons why, but I don't understand why Ange is so keen to take this job. I know obviously he's going to be very well paid. It's another Premier League job so soon after his other one. But if you look at it on the face of it, as you sort of said in the group chat, he's not got a lot of time for nonsense, has he? If he feels like a journalist is asking a silly question, he's quite upfront in telling that journalist. He hasn't got a lot of patience for a lot of carry on. He just wants to crack on with the football.
He doesn't have a patience for everybody. It's like he doesn't want the media side, but a good manager understands they have to do that as part of their job.
But what I'm saying is, ignoring the press for a minute, there is a lot of nonsense that goes along with working for Evangelos Marinakis. You think about the incident at the back end of last season where Awoniyi had that injury where he ran into the post, and after the game, Marinakis is storming on the field, having quite a heated discussion with Nuno, and you put Ange into that situation. I don't see that ending well, to be honest. Because Nuno's quite magnanimous. He's just a sort of, I'm here to do my job. I'll go with the flow. And all the outside stuff is the outside stuff. Doesn't bother me. Ange will let that get to him.
There's never much animosity with, and I know it's a different kind of relationship, but I think he's the kind that wouldn't speak about his boss in public. He would have that discussion privately. And at the end of the day, it's not the chairman's job to stand up there in front of that's what they pay people to do for them, so they don't have to fetch up and say, here's what's happening at the football club, and that's part of being a Premier League manager. The press love him, but they love him for two different reasons. When he's in a good mood, he's a great laugh. He comes out with some really cool quotes and stuff like that, and we all have a laugh about it. But they also love him because when things aren't going well, he throws his toys at the pram and gives them headlines. I mean? I'm not sure. And obviously, I don't speak for, any Forest fans in real life, but when you go online and that, they're not too happy, apart from the odd one that's like, this is a clear upgrade. And you're like, okay.
Yeah. I mean, they're never going to be happy because you don't sack a manager this early in the season, a manager who was fairly successful, well, not fairly, unequivocally successful last season, and fine, their results have been a bit mixed this season, but you're not worried for them. And it's clearly he's been sacked because of political reasons, not for footballing reasons. No fan is ever going to be happy with that. And then you go and you get a fairly underwhelming appointment. It just, because Mourinho's on the market. Obviously, he doesn't play good football anymore, and he's not an elite manager anymore. But he's a much sexier appointment than Ange still, I think.
Unless you're going for this specific type of I don't see that Forest, because Forest have got they had quite a small squad, and then they signed an absolute army again over the summer. But they have a small squad of starting quality players, because that's what Nuno wanted. And Ange's biggest problem was he didn't have the depth to play with the intensity that he wanted. So you think, Murillo, Milenkovic, they're really good at the back. They're not as quick and they're not as good as Van der Ven and Romero, I don't think. And if either one of them is injured, I don't think their backups are that good. You lose Gibbs, White or Anderson, who's coming into that midfield. And again, the front three is a bit, it's just... Yeah, well, listen, I just hope that everybody's player value drops a wee bit and Elliot Anderson goes, you know what, this isn't at my level anymore, and wants to come home to where he belongs. Anyway, shall we move on?
I would have liked to have... I mean, I would have liked to if we moved on from Belieber and searched for other targets, I think Anderson could have fit that bill for us quite nicely, but he would have cost nearly as much as Belieber anyway, just because that's what Forest would ask for.
This is one player that if we matched your price for him, he would actually choose us before you. I genuinely believe. You know, I mean, he was at the cup final supporting us. Do you know what I mean? In this boyhood club, we didn't want to sell him. It was pure, But who knows? But that might not be a career path that he can take because we can't give him game time. There's a lot of factors that come into that.
Yeah.
But anyway, we'll move on and look at our kind of player predictions that we put together now. So I'll kind of talk through our order, if you like, of them. I'm first, I believe, on our little order that we kind of made up. So we've got the Player of the Year, which we will go by whatever is decided by the kind of Premier League game, who the Player of the Year is. Young Player of the Year. Now that one, we are not going by who they choose because they go for under 23. And for a long time, we've all kind of agreed that that's too old for Young Player of the Year. So sometimes kids have been in it's their 7th year in the Premier League and they're winning Young Player of the Year. It's not right. So we've gone under 21 for ours. So we'll decide ourselves, like amongst us, who that is. And any viewers can obviously join in when we get to the end of the season and bring this back up again. We've got a Golden Boot, which is whoever scores the most goals. So that's nice and easy. Who gets the most assists? Golden Glove, who lets in the least goals at the goalkeepers.
It's most clean sheets. It's most clean sheets, not least goals.
Yeah. Sorry,
it's the official award.
Correct.
But also on the assister, if you are watching and you do want to comment, I would welcome suggestions for what the trophy for most assists should be called. Because you've got the snappy Golden Boot, you've got the Golden Glove. What's the golden thing that an assister has? Golden Eye? No, I can't call anything Golden Eye. That would be rubbish. That would be ridiculous.
I need to cut in because you guys didn't tell me about no age things, and
I did.
ChatGPT spit out a 22-year-old name, so
he's fine. Okay, he's fine. Don't worry.
Okay.
Yeah, we're not going to quibble with that.
It's not somebody that's just that's been playing for years.
Yeah. We were sick of seeing like Saka win it year on year, Palmer win it multiple years, Foden win it multiple years, Haaland win it even though he's been like handcrafted in a lab to play football.
Well, I'd even go 22 is a more reasonable argument than 23, for example. But
and especially because players are starting a lot younger now as well. So yeah, you're fine, Kyle.
Exactly.
Yeah, but
we've also got best. These are all kind of objectives, so they'll be agreed by us, kind of thing, as we go across. And they're also not just who, like somebody could sign for 180 million and they could have an okay season. They're not the worst signing, but that wouldn't count for us because it's such a high fee. So the way we've kind of done it is a bit more based on value and what they offer. So we've got best signing, worst signing, and then breakout star. So somebody that's a bit different. Again, that's somebody that we agree that is nobody had ever heard of last year, and this year his name's on everyone's lips.
Yeah, or it's just somebody who sort of has gone under the radar for a bit, and just all of a sudden it's the guy.
Became as a big player.
Yeah.
So I'll talk you through mine first of all. So my player of the year, I was really struggling with. There's not much to say about this one. I went with Rodri just because he's back this year, and I think I tipped City win it. I don't think they will now at this point in time, but it's early days, so not too much to say about that one because I was struggling. Young Player of the Year, I went with Lewis Hall, and people will say, "Oh, Newcastle bias," but it's the only one I've got on here, and the reason is because I think he was on course to win it last year until he got injured. Towards the second half of the season, he missed the rest of the season, sadly, and I think he was walking away with it at that point. If he can have an injury-free season, he's only 20 years old, he's had an England cap, I think, at this point, hasn't he?
Yeah, he has, I think he's in the current squad. He's in the current squad as well. He definitely had an England cap last season, but I'm fairly certain he's in the current squad.
I don't think he's in yet, because he's only played a couple of games, like, not even a full game for us. Anyway, I'm not sure, but that's why I've gone with that. Just logical to me. Golden Boot, I've gone for Haaland because even last year when he missed a lot of games and City were rubbish, he was still not far away from anybody else on the list. He's just yeah, that's why I've gone that. Assister, I've went Salah, probably for similar reasons as Dave is going with that one as well, and I'll get to that. But the reason I have is I think he's maybe lost a bit of his explosiveness. I think he is just slightly showing his age a little bit, and I see him almost more as a playmaker now than necessarily a goal finisher. And because of the other people that Liverpool have added in, he kind of doesn't need to do that. Now, he kind of, if other people are pressing from, he can kind of just be the one that picks up the passes and plays the kind of messy role, I think. So that's my reasons behind that. Worst signing, I did originally have somebody else and was told I couldn't use him because he actually signed last year. So I've actually gone with James Trafford.
Okay, let's just get that changed live for our viewers because it's
you still get to Debo in. Yeah. Well, you told me I couldn't have them. So I went for what's his name? James Trafford. And the reason I went for James Trafford because he's a very, very good player. He chose to go to Man City instead of Newcastle, really, which is his right to do, and he was a boyhood Man City. So you can totally understand it. But he's thinking he's going to get real game time, and that next year, even if he's not playing every game, he's probably then going to become number one. Then City get rid of Ederson, who was at that, aged out anyway, and they bring in Donnarumma, who's only 26, and I think he's not going to get much game time, and it's going to feel like a bad season for him. And for the price, 35 million for a keeper, it's not a small price. On to my Golden Glove. Assister, I said Salah. I just went in the wrong order there, didn't I? No.
Yeah. You're fine. I mean, Golden Glove is easy. I
went
say
in the
Golden
wrong
Glove.
order. Yeah, Golden Glove, Raya. Yeah.
We've all gone Raya. The viewers can see that, so we don't need to go much into that, do we?
No. João Pedro, because of the price, was it 50 million or something like that? I think, and I think he's a phenomenal player. I would have liked him at Newcastle,
and most importantly,
good player.
He's hit the ground running. He's already doing the business for Chelsea. He already
that's
looks
point,
like the best player.
Gives you that confidence to keep going. He feels like one of the main men at Chelsea already, so fair play to him. And my breakout star, I'm going for James McAtee because I think he's a good player that hasn't had enough game time. He's gone to Forest. I did pick this before, sacking, I will point out. So I don't know how that'll work out. But I just think he could be the next Cole Palmer, is my thought process. I'll move on to Dave's. All right, Dave has gone for Player of the Year and Golden Boot being Haaland. I'll just read out what he said. Haaland's been a consistent goal scorer since he came into the Premier League. Only thing he hasn't been particularly consistent in is his health. Despite injuries, he's normally guaranteed 20 goals a season plus, and I think he will get the Golden Boot this year as well. Very few players can smash out as many goals a year as Haaland, and the ones that can don't think they're going to be quite on it this year. His Young Player of the Year, and I kind of, when I saw this from Dave, I kind of considered almost changing my mind, to be honest, because he's gone for Esteval, the young Brazilian wonder kid that's at Chelsea. Criteria for Young Player of the Year, ourselves are first to put under, immediately causes issues as there's very few stand out. It's not like me to risk cursing a Chelsea player with predicted greatness, but I'm just too excited about this guy. With Palmer out injured, it's allowed Esteval to get some game time very early in his career, and he's already impressed during a short time. It's quite clear he's talented. Hopefully when Palmer comes back, Chelsea will find another way to fit him in. His assister is Salah, and he basically just said the same as me exactly, and I thought that when I read it before, I've basically stole that off Dave, if you like, but it's probably because when I read it I go, yep, that's my thoughts exactly. Glove Raya, don't need to say anything about that, we've all picked it. Best sign, and I think this is quite a surprise because I really like this player, but he's went for Reinders because he started so great, but then that first game he looked different gravy, and I wonder whether that's stuck in Dave's mind a bit. But he's tailed off a bit. He says, despite them not being convincing at the moment, he doesn't really think that's on Reinders, and he will be one of those players you just love to watch. Dynamic abilities, great with the ball, great off the ball, tidy and tight spaces, vision in the final third excellent, and plenty of goals in him. And they also got him for a stupidly low fee as well.
Yeah,
and I think that's probably where Dave's looking at value for signing, and I get that completely.
I mean, yeah, it was. He's an excellent player, and they got him with zero fuss, and that's
yeah. Although it's not hard to get somebody out in Milan these days, I will say.
No.
The worst start. And there's 2 years have gone for this. I'm quite surprised about it, just because he's the bad start that they're saying Sesko. And I dare say you won't agree with this.
Well, no, I can certainly see the logic in it, because you've got the previous. It's looking very similar so far to the Højlund deal 2 years ago, where it's a young striker, and Sesko's got a bit more experience than Højlund did, but he's come in, and because we've binned off Højlund, all of the pressure at 9 is going to be on Sesko, because we haven't really got an ideal backup for him. So it's going to be the same issue if the attack doesn't click.
I think Dave's basically said the same thing. There's a trio of strikers come in, but he's the one that all the pressure's on, because you don't have any other strikers now except him. He's not scored 5 goals at the start, 2 goals at the start just to get his fit. So there is a lot of pressure on him, and he said, it'll take me time to get. And I totally appreciate that, but I'm just not sure Man United needed someone like Højlund that they had to craft for a year or 2 first.
Yeah.
Dave basically says, he's always had this 80 million price tag. He's been hyped for years, but he doesn't feel he's done that much to kind of show it. But that's the price we pay for potential. They could say the same for Walter Ekitike. Difference here is Sesko is at Man United, just like you said, Ryan. I fear he's going to have the same issue Holland had, not got much service that goes behind him. He could put Isaac Works up there because they cost more, but he just thinks they've got the numbers previously to kind of back the price a little bit. So fair enough. Breakout star, he's got Timber, which, it's a good shout. We all kind of thought of him as if last year was his breakout, but Dave kind of did point out a few stats to say, well, actually, it really was. It was like the last few games when they had.
Yeah, he was injured.
That things started.
Yeah, because he signed and then got injured fairly quickly, didn't he? So
that's right. Yeah. So on to whoever's next on our little list.
Yeah, so we've got Mick next. He's gone Erling Haaland for Player of the Year. That is a pick that doesn't really need much explaining. If City have a good season and Haaland has a good season, then there's a strong likelihood of that. Young Player of the Year, he's gone Adam Wharton, which is also what Rich went for. Now, Wharton's an interesting one because there is an excellent player in there, and he's stayed at Palace. He's still quite young. We're yet to see him do it for a full season because he's had quite a few injury issues already. So if he can stay fit, I think that could be possible. But just playing for Palace with the young players that City have got, with the young players that Chelsea have got, with the young players that Newcastle have got, I think Wharton will have to do a lot to get Young Player of the Year. I think the fact that it's going to be our subjective one because it's under 21s maybe lends itself towards that, because I think we'll be a bit more. There's going to be less big club bias on this, isn't there, with us picking it? Whereas it's always, you've got to be doing excellently if you're not at a big club to be troubling those awards. I mean,
you're comparing it with other under 21s, if you remember those. Yeah. So if he does have as good a season as he did last year,
but it's from a official awards perspective, he's an excellent player. Don't get me wrong, but his issue is he's doing it for Palace, and good for Palace is not the same as good for Liverpool, City, or Chelsea.
I know.
Yeah, or Arsenal.
We said earlier on the pressure
but also, he's a defensive midfielder, and he's at his best when you don't notice him. That's the problem. If he's having a good game, you don't know he's on the pitch.
Yeah.
So
I know. You're absolutely right. Right.
Yeah. So I think from our perspective, he's got a better chance from us. Golden Boot, he's gone Hugo Ekitike, which is interesting because if Haaland's Player of the Year, but Ekitike scored more goals than him, it's an interesting one to put into practice, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, I would. It's up to him.
Yeah, I think Ekitike's got a decent chance. He started well at Liverpool, but obviously
he's not going to get as many games up front with Isaac.
Exactly. It depends on how he fits in with Isaac. Although I think he's going to get the nod ahead of Isaac for the first few weeks, just because Isaac's not going to be match
Oh,
fit.
100%. Look at the internationals.
And if he
got Isaac on in the second half,
and if he does well enough there, I think Arne Slot's the type of manager who would keep him in the side rather than just say, "Oh well, I've spent loads of money on Isaac, so yes, fine, you've got 10 goals already this season, but we're going to bin you off." I don't see that happening, but it's on him to take advantage of Isaac being eased in, I think. Top assister, he's got Martin Odegaard for Arsenal, which, I think is a decent shout. He's Arsenal's main creative outlet still, but they don't look particularly free scoring at the minute, so that might be a struggle.
That could change.
Yeah, and then David Raya, Golden Glove, like we said. Arsenal, I mean, we may as well explain it at least once, but all of us have gone for David Raya, and I assume that's because Arsenal are the best defensive team in the league. Raya's won it the last couple of years, hasn't he? I think he shared it with Pickford once or twice.
And he was in our team of the week for keeper last year.
Yeah. He's the keeper in the best defence in the league. It's as simple as that. Best signing, Mick's gone for Hugo Ekitike. Now, he's big money, but again, he's a bit like João Pedro. He's got the bit between his teeth. He's stepped in and stepped up really well for Liverpool when they haven't looked quite right this season. Yeah,
I think he's a prize for Liverpool. I do.
Yeah. Worst signing, Mick's gone for James Trafford. Again, I can only imagine for exactly the same reasons that you went for, in that he had Newcastle have been chasing him for 2 years. He had the move lined up. City swoop in at the last minute, and
rumours although he's always been hanging, waiting for City, though, and that's been part of the problem. So.
But I mean, ignoring the Donnarumma factor, he's not looked good this season anyway. He's dropped a couple of clangers. He's not looked confident, and we all question that. Is that he could? I think Newcastle for his development would have been a better side, because although they're trying to play at the same level as City, there's just slightly less spotlight. But also, it's just I just
you're
not
going to be forced to play it at the back if you if you're not got any room, just put it up.
Whereas I didn't think he looked quite ready to be number one for City, and it turns out Guardiola agrees. And then breakout star, Mick's gone for Max Dowman, who is Arsenal's 15-year-old wonder kid, and he looks an absolute player. I don't know if he's going to be playing that much really when the season gets going properly, especially now they've got Eze.
Well, if you think he kind of plays the same position as Saka and Madueke, so and I think he'll get some much pressure on him. He's only 50.
Yeah, he'll get some nice cameos, and he'll get a lot of chat about him just for the fact that he's 15. But I would be very surprised to see it. We want to see the breakout star basically come from nowhere to being the key man for their club, and I just can't see that happening for Dowman this season. Onto my picks. I've got Declan Rice as player of the year, and that's mainly because I've got Arsenal winning the league, and I think if Arsenal win the league, it's because Rice is, we said this last year, Rice will give you an 8 out of 10 every single game. He didn't against Liverpool, as it happened the other week, but
that was when an unusual game.
Yeah, but if Arsenal win the league, it's because Rice has been the best player in much the same way as Rodri. He makes Arsenal tick. They've got Saka, they've got Odegaard, but Rice is just the heartbeat, and especially with the set pieces and his delivery there, he's the key there as far as I'm concerned. Young player of the year, I have gone for Alejandro Garnacho. Because he's got his move to Chelsea, and I think in a functioning attacking unit, he can really shine. He is an excellent player. The last 6 months really, the last 6 months have really just put his reputation in the toilet. And I covered this in the last couple of episodes. I think he's had attitude issues, but he's also been made a scapegoat because he was the one that in the squad that we could feasibly get money for. But I think he's an excellent player, and I really enjoyed watching him for United, so I hope he does well for Chelsea. So that's why I put him there. Golden Boot, I've gone for João Pedro, just because, especially with the Delap injury now, he's going to be their main man up front, and I think he's already scored quite a few goals for them, not all in the Premier League, but I think he's going to do really well there. Top assister, I've gone for Bruno Fernandes because nobody in the league creates more chances than Bruno Fernandes, and hopefully with Sesko, Cunha and Mbuema, we've got people who can actually put them away. And if we start putting away the chances that Bruno creates, he's going to be winning that by a mile, I think. And again, I've gone for David Raya, Golden Glove. Moving on to best signing, I've gone for João Pedro for much the same reasons as you. It was a really good fee. He's an excellent player, and like I said, he hit the ground running from like his first kick in the Club World Cup, and he's just carried on from there. He's doing the business already. So I think it's going to be difficult to find a better signing than that. I've changed these next two. I've gone for Donnarumma as worth signing because although he's an excellent keeper, it does seem like a bit of a panic buy and a last minute, not much thought into it buy just because he's available and because Trafford's looked a bit shaky. Stylistically, he's not a Pep keeper, but he does stop shots very well. But I just don't think that he's going to necessarily change City's fortunes that much for how much he cost and how much
did they spend on him? How much was it?
I think I can't remember the exact fee, but it was a decent fee along with his wages.
Yeah, it would have to be.
Yeah, let me see if I can find the fee. Right. Oh, so it was about 25 million euros. So not bad money, but
Trafford.
Yeah, not bad money.
And then
but
the wages. Yeah.
It's the wages, but it's just I don't see that he's going to.
Trafford gets wages.
City are going to have to change the way they play to accommodate him, and at the same time, they're going to stifle Trafford's development again. I just don't see it as being good business. I think if you sign Trafford, you stick with him for a season.
I mean, I guess it's the kind of same argument we're all making, but you're taking the reverse side of it.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? That signing was a bad signing.
I mean, not only that is so they've spent £60 million on keepers this summer, when actually the keepers that they had there wasn't really much wrong with them. I don't think.
No, that wasn't huge an issue. No.
Yeah. And then I've changed breakout star last minute to Noni Madueke. Because I think he was seen as a bit of an average player at Chelsea, with sort of the odd bright moment. Arsenal fans were quite angry about getting another bit of Chelsea deadwood as one of their signings, but I thought he was Arsenal's best player against Liverpool. He's been England's best player in this international break, from what I've seen, and I think Saka is not going to stay fit the whole season, so he's going to get chances down the right. But also, I think the spot on the left is up for grabs if he plays well enough. So I can see him having a really good season and being really key to Arsenal this season.
That's good.
So I've gone for Noni Madueke. And then I can go through Rich's if you want.
Yeah, just quickly, you can go through it.
So
there's a statement.
Rich has gone for Bukayo Saka, who I think I remember when he posted him. It's on the assumption that Arsenal win the league, which was his prediction. Saka is going to be key to that. No arguments there.
Yeah.
He's gone Adam Wharton, Young Player of the Year. We've touched on him. He's gone Haaland, Golden Boot. Again, needs no explanation. Assister, he's gone for Jack Grealish, which I think is a beneficiary of doing these after the transfer window ends. But obviously, Grealish has already got 4 assists for Everton in 2 games. So if he keeps that up, he'll win it comfortably, I suppose. But
fair play. Yeah.
But we'll see. I would love to see it because I do enjoy watching Jack Grealish play. He's gone for David Raya, Golden Glove. Best signing, he's gone for Martin Zubimendi. Again, I can see that. It was a decent fee. It plugs a hole in midfield.
Good player. A lot of teams wanted him.
I haven't seen much from him this season to be that impressed with him, but again, he's that defensive midfielder
he needs a bit of time, though. I think the idea is he sits and lets Rice go forward, isn't it?
Yeah, and they can swap that. But again, it's if you're playing defensive midfield and you're having a good game, that means nobody's noticing you. That's that comes with the territory, I guess. He's gone for bench.
Again, if they win the league, which is what he's saying, then he must have played well.
Exactly. He's gone for Benjamin Sesko as worst signing. Look, I completely get it. It's £80 million on still a relatively raw striker with United's track record. I was quite excited when we signed him, but I think I got carried away with not only convincing him to come to United over Newcastle again, because Newcastle were absolutely the better choice as far as I'm concerned, but also just the idea of us spending £80 million on a striker. I didn't think we had that in us at that point in the window, and that's when it looked like there was a shift in our strategy where we were going to be quite aggressive in trying to get some good players in. I don't think
you needed somebody a bit more experienced.
Yeah, he's got
pressure off, and we would have done that. We would have. Wissa would be the starter. He would get the time, and
I think he's got more of a physical presence than Højlund, but he needs time on the pitch with Kunir and Mbeumo to find out where they're going, what they're doing, and so that they can find out where he's going, so they can find him. So sometimes
when you throw some players in at the deep end, they do swim. You just Højlund didn't, but he might.
It has been similar though in that he hasn't looked like he's got in positions to score. He had a couple of headed chances against Burnley, which Højlund wouldn't have gotten on the end of, I don't think. But he hasn't shown himself yet. So it's a very risky deal. So I can see a world where we agree that Sesko hasn't really fulfilled his brief by the end of the season for sure. And then he's gone for Romain Esse as breakout star. Now he is a young kid, I think, at Palace, and he's basically the heir to Eberechi Esse, and Esse's moved on now. So it's whether Esse can come in and basically fill his boots.
So chances are he's going to get some game time for sure.
Yeah. And then Kyle, do you want to take us through your picks for your predictions?
Yeah, sure.
How you got them up?
Yeah.
I threw a bunch of websites and picks at ChatGPT and said, "Tell me what you think." So, for player of the season, it picked Haaland, and it said if City win the title and leads the scoring, our golden boot pick. This award typically follows volume penalties and elite chance supply, whatever that means. Young player, Cherokee, Ryan Cherokee.
Yeah, Ryan Cherokee, I think.
Somewhat right.
Yeah, that'll do.
Yeah.
He's under 23, eligible with high assist ceiling, feeding Haaland, Foden, and Doku. If he locks consistent starts, the numbers and highlights will pop. Golden Boot went to Haaland. Said 34 to 38 league games puts 30 plus goals firmly in play. And whatever. I mean, I kind of get some of this. Like, I get what they're going for. I just don't know what's actually feeding.
A lot of it is nonsense, to be honest. A lot of it is not good football speak.
Nice.
I've got to say.
It's still better than what I would have done. At least it sounds like football speak. My solution was originally going to just to be pick names out of a hat. Golden Boot, or no, I already said that. Playmaker, or most assists, so assister. Salah, I heard you guys say that a few times. Ironman minutes and central role in a title level attack deliver the steadiest assist floor. Raya, just because see what ChatGPT said about him. Durable, number one behind a top 2 defense, strong shutout floor over a full season.
Easy. Did you feed this into American websites by any chance?
I fed, so there was like
GPT's global. So
I know, but
I specifically fed in like 3 or 4 different things, including the EPL website compiled a list of picks from different people. So I fed that one. I fed a bunch of other stuff. I don't even remember which all they were, but best signing Verts, I don't freaking know. Double G+A profile in a system that runs through him, instant high impact fit. Worst signing Mbeumo. Am I close?
I think he likes to pronounce it Mbeumo, but
Mbeumo, okay.
Yeah.
It says usage role uncertainty versus fee, likely fewer set piece penalty opportunities. Real risk he underperforms for the price.
I can see that. So
he's not playing with Wissa this year.
Well, no. So he's one of Man United signings, and we did spend a lot of money on him. What they're saying is he scored quite a few goals for Brentford last season, but he was their penalty kick taker. At Man United, Bruno Fernandes is the penalty kick taker. He's not going to be taking any penalty kicks, so that is one route to goal. So it's just going to be locked off from him.
Got more chances.
But also, the position we're playing in isn't his natural position. I think he started okay, so but I can see where the logic is with that.
Okay, and then breakout star, they picked Wharton. Said why minutes plus progressive passing, team fit, checks both data and eye test boxes for a league-wide breakout. So
cool.
That's what I went with.
Good play.
Yeah.
All right. Well, so we will obviously not bring this back up now until we get to the point of the end of the season. So we can have very different ideas by then. Just to finish off today, we're just going to show our predictions for game week 4. Look at any kind of, if there's any standing games that we would say, watch this one, something like that.
So
can't even remember what I put, but it's on the screen.
Yeah, so we've got some interesting games. So the big one is the Manchester Derby, which I have gone for a United win and nobody else has, but I think we've got a decent record at the Etihad, relatively speaking. City aren't right. I'll be interested to see what we do goalkeeper wise, because Andre Onana's gone on loan to Trabzonspor in the last couple of days. Altay, I think, has looked all right as long as he's not in a crowded box. And we've signed Senna Lummond, but he's quite a young and experienced goalkeeper. So do we stick with Altay, who has got vulnerabilities that are well documented, or do we drop the young goalkeeper straight in? And then obviously City, you think they're going to start Donnarumma for that. So we'll see.
Yeah, probably.
But I think we've got a good, if we take the Arsenal game as the template, I think we've got a decent chance on that.
Because I still don't know. I still think it's too early to judge both teams at the moment. So, it's going to take another couple of games before this kind of starts to settle down a little bit.
Yeah.
I think one game I'm interested in because of what's happened this week is Arsenal versus Nottingham Forest. On Saturday, just because, it's just theatre. Ange's coming in, is he going? I don't know. It could be a boring 1-0 corner win for Arsenal again, but I just don't know. We'll see. Oh, I think Ryan might have frozen there actually at the moment.
Yeah, it does look like he froze.
We're just kind of wrapping up things anyway. I don't think there's any kind of major other big games to kind of have a look at this weekend. Maybe a few results between some of the lower teams that we're not sure which way it's going to go and things like that. But.
Yeah, I think Everton versus Villa is an interesting one. I don't know if you just spoke about that while I cut out there briefly. But obviously Everton...
No, I didn't actually. That's a good point.
Yeah. So Everton looked quite good going into the international break. Obviously, we've talked about Jack Grealish a lot, but they had some impressive results. Villa have not looked good at all this season. So this is a good one to say, are Everton actually good, and can Villa bring it back? I think it's it's an interesting to see where they both are.
Watching. Definitely. So we'll see. Obviously, we'll be back in our next episode, which will now be after these games have played, to review how they went, and just back to our kind of normal shows, probably 2 shows a week as we've been doing this season. But listen, thanks very much for watching as always through to the end. If you did, give us a like and subscribe if you like what you see. If you don't like what you see, let us know. Remember, the Genreverse YouTube channel's there as well. If you've just finished this, you think, what else could I watch next? Shoot over there. Or if you fancy a bit of light reading, why not check out lnmonline.com as well. I've been Ryan. No, wait a minute. I've been Ryan. He's been Cam. Kel's over there somewhere. And, see you next week, guys. Bye-bye.